UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer kick-started his two-day visit to India from Mumbai today. His visit is focused on boosting UK-India trade ties. He's got the biggest ever trade delegation to India. He said it builds on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to London earlier this year. He's leading a 125-member business delegation. It has companies like Rolls-Royce, BT, Diageo. Starmer said India's growth means more jobs back at home. He meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Global FinTech Summit, where talks are also likely to touch on issues like extradition of fugitives from law in India, including Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi.
After India's historic signing of the free trade agreement with the United Kingdom, also called the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, on July 24th this year, British Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has landed in India's financial capital, Mumbai, for a two-day visit. The FTA signed during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit is due to come into effect next year. Prime Minister Starmer is leading a delegation of 125 CEOs, entrepreneurs, cultural leaders and university vice-chancellors to boost trade relations between both countries. This is also the biggest UK trade mission ever to come to India.
This is the biggest trade mission that the United Kingdom has ever sent to India. That FTA is really important for us. It's the biggest deal that we've struck since we left the EU, and I think it's the biggest deal that India has ever struck.
But the matter of issuing visas to Indian workers and students is not priority for Prime Minister Starmer when he meets Prime Minister Modi on Thursday. While speaking to reporters en route India, Starmer said there will be no relaxation to visa rules for India. Instead, the focus will be to take advantage of the free trade agreement that we've already struck. In wake of President Trump's changes in the H-1B visa policy, when Starmer was asked whether the UK was trying to attract tech professionals, he said the country wanted to attract top talent, but said there were no plans for new visas to India. As Starmer's Labour Party trails the populist Reform UK party in polls, the British Prime Minister is trying to take a restrictive stance on both immigration amid high public concern about the issue. The trade deal between India and UK will see UK cars and whiskey becoming cheaper to export to India and Indian textiles and jewellery cheaper to export to the UK. It also includes 3-year exemption on social security paid by Indian employees working in the UK on short-term visas. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
So at a time when India-US relations are yet to return on an even keel, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer is in India leading the largest ever trade delegation. So what can we expect from this visit? And is there a signal here for the rest of Europe and the rest of the world? Joining me here on this India First special is Ambassador Veena Sikri. Ambassador Sikri, welcome. Goods trade between India and the UK stands at about £20 billion, services at about £32 billion. What are specific areas you believe where the relationship can now take off, and can it help counter the impact of the US tariffs in the near future? Ma'am, I think you're on mute. Request you to unmute.
Yeah, well, good evening, Gaurav. To answer your second question first, I think, yes, this trade deal, a very significant trade deal, signed the CETA, Comprehensive Economic Trade Agreement between India and the UK, is precisely targeting 99% duty-free exports from India to the UK. And they're going to cover precisely those same areas of gems and jewelry, shoes, carpets, and so on that have been affected in the exports to the USA. So there is a big scope to, redirect the exports from USA to UK. We also know that the President Putin of Russia has also offered to take a lot of goods. So I think this is important. But overall, this, as Prime Minister Keir Starmer himself emphasized, this is the largest trade deal, economic and trade agreement that UK has entered into after leaving the EU. after Brexit. This is their largest deal. So obviously, this is a significant indication of where the UK is looking for its future growth and prosperity. They are looking at creating jobs in the UK for their people through this very important economic and trade agreement. And also, I think that this will be a big focus, obviously, on the question of more visas for Indians. He's not willing to commit at the moment, but that will come in a later way. Now, if you have
Okay.
a greater number of, British companies benefiting and greater number of British companies willing to set up offices in India, now that itself will provide a lot of jobs for the same kind of people who go on H-1B visas and others. It will provide them jobs in India, highly paying, good jobs, very well qualified jobs in India, which is a very good thing. So I think this is one very important aspect of the agreement, and it's a combined economic and trade agreement. It's just not focusing only on trade, and I think this is
Yes.
significant too, because why just do only trade in goods? You got to do trade
Oh,
in services,
absolutely. Goods,
investment.
services, manufacturing. In fact, Keir Starmer has talked about creating not just more jobs in UK. India believes some of that manufacturing can be shifted to India, and technology initiatives. Now, that's something I want to really focus on. Will that spur ties, whether it's AI or quantum computing or cyber security? And, if I may, will this encourage other European countries to follow this template, that thus far, so near and so far trade deal with the EU? Is that also likely? Will they see this template and follow suit?
I think so, because Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has already said that the India-EU FTA will be done by December, which is just about 2 months away. So I think that yes, it does have a positive impact, and I think the fact that Prime Minister Keir Starmer has brought this huge delegation, largest ever, 125 people. I think it shows the kind of companies, the best British companies are represented here, vice chancellors of universities are represented here. And that brings me to another aspect of UK-India cooperation, which is quite significant, very significant,
Education.
is defense and industrial cooperation. The
Yes.
defense deals. Rolls-Royce is looking at the engines for the medium combat aircraft. Thales is looking at other, very high intensity, high technology missiles and so on, that it could do either joint manufacturing or transfer of technology, or in the beginning purchases, but accompanied by so these are very significant areas, and this is part of the comprehensive 10-year vision that India and UK have evolved for their bilateral relationship, which was when our Prime Minister went to UK in the month of July when the FTA was signed. So the 10-year perspective is a very important one. They're working within a different framework. The UK sees this, and I think there's bipartisan support for this CETA, Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. In the UK, it will be discussed in their parliament and approved, we hope, very shortly. And in that way, it'll come on board, come into force.
Since you mentioned defense, when I was covering, just before the Kargil war, after the Pokhran test in 1998, our entire Sea King and Sea Harrier fleet was grounded because of Pokhran test, post-Pokhran sanctions. America imposed sanctions, Britain followed suit. So, British-made aircraft could not fly, or Hepters could not fly. In your view, given the current tensions with the United States, can we trust the UK and the US on critical defense technology?
That's a very important question. And I think that if such technologies, such manufacture or such purchases by India are accompanied by transfer of technology, and accompanied by manufacturing in India, phased manufacturing, of course, it can't be done immediately, but phased manufacturing in India, very much like what we have done in our agreements with Russia on, manufacturing and then transfer of technology and transferring the manufacturing to India as well. I do think with the UK, it could work because the British companies are very interested in it. So that is an important point. And they've shown their interest by coming to Bombay at this stage. And we do know that from the USA, we have had delays in supply of engines. So that has been a very worrying factor. So we have to work with whoever it is ready to work with us on this.
What would it mean, ma'am, the last 40 seconds I have on this part of the show, on fugitives from law in India finding shelter in the United Kingdom? Commit a crime in India, and financial crime, and go enjoy life in the UK. Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, so many such instances. Does a closer economic cooperation also mean closer legal cooperation?
Of course, definitely. It's very much a part of it. And I think it may not be in the public sphere, but certainly in the private discussions, the one-to-one discussions between our Prime Minister and Prime Minister Keir Starmer, this will definitely figure all the issues. We do know there's a lot of talk that Nirav Modi is on the verge of being extradited to India, and just the final details are left to be tied up. Vijay Mallya seems to be a little more difficult, but still, they will all be mentioned. And I think that this question of issue of Indian fugitives from the law will be taken up. Number one. Number two, also the question of the activities of the Khalistanis in the UK, and the need to control their activity. There's another important issue, because the UK is thinking of a law against Islamophobia, and saying that, oh, you
Yes.
must not have it. But there's a lot of talk in the UK that the Hindus and the Sikhs are equally worried. That why only
Yes.
against Islamophobia? There's Hindu phobia as well. There's Sikh phobia as well. So all these religious aspects, when people, attack somebody or do violent acts in the name of
Yes.
religion, then I
We've
think
seen that in Leicester recently,
yes,
Birmingham, we've seen this in
yes,
the Midlands.
yes,
Indians and Hindus have been targeted, people of Indian
yes.
origin.
And we will certainly talk to the Prime Minister of UK about saying that, look, you must look at all religions together. You can't do one religion at a time, because the issues are the
Yes,
same. And this
absolutely.
pressure by the Islamic community there is trying to exclude other religions from this.
No, we'll be tracking that story very closely. Ambassador Sikri for joining me here on this India First special broadcast. Many thanks.